Alright guys, today in the shop we have a Stihl. This is a pole saw, and it's the HT131 model. I'll show you right here. HT131. This is a pole saw, and what we're going to be replacing today is this one here has a bad choke. You can see it's just kind of seized up. It's actually broke off inside. So I'm going to show you. There's a little trick to these because I had struggled with it before, and I figured when I had to do another one of these I would do a tutorial on it, but it's not really hard. It's just the process of putting it back in. So really what you're going to need is your Torx head here to remove. You got one there, and it's really hard to see with the sun, but you got two on here. Let me move to a different angle. One there, one there. You're going to back those two out, and you're also going to need a screwdriver. I recommend one with a magnetic tip on it. There's a little tiny screw underneath of this choke that we're going to take out. Sometimes it drops down into the motor, but you could also get away with one of these little tiny screwdrivers as well. And an 8mm socket. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to take off this air filter cover first. Basically, you just stick your Torx head tool in there, and you're going to back these two out of here. We'll go ahead and pull that off. And under here is going to be your air filter. And right here is going to be your two 8mm nuts that you're going to want to remove. You technically could do this choke without having to remove this assembly, but it takes 2 seconds, and it does give you that little extra room that you need. And once you get them loose, you can just kind of pull this off. Watch those little nuts there. They're gonna want to fall down on the ground. And it's going to be still attached by this hose, but you don't need to disconnect this hose. You're just sliding this out of the way. Now we'll come over to the choke, and you can see this one pretty much snapped off. Alright, so here, let me turn my light on. You can see that little Phillips head there. And it's really tiny. When you loosen that, it's 90% of the time going to drop down in there on top of your gas tank, and you're probably going to lose it. And then you're going to have to tilt this sideways and shake it to get it out. That's why I recommend using the magnetic tip to kind of prevent that from happening. So we're just going to get that in there. Now you want to be careful before you take this black piece off. There is a spring inside of there. If you lose that spring, well, then you're pretty much screwed. Alright, so there's our little screw. Let's see. There we go. Alright, so now you're going to pull off this little black piece here. There's a spring underneath. See that spring right there? Make sure that spring's not broken in half. Alright. And you can tell by the way that this is shaped. You can see how the metal is shaped here, the chrome metal. Well, that actually, when this goes back on, you can see the way that this is shaped. It actually fits right over top of that, the way it's cut out. You can see that on the back, alright? So just remember that. Alright, now when you're putting the new choke on, you can see the little groove right there where it's notched out. So I got a used choke here. See it at the top where it fits into that little groove? You can go ahead and slide your spring back down on there like that. Alright, now go back to this black piece here. Remember that little notch there and the little notch on the choke here. And you just want to drop this down in there. And after you have it down in there, turn it. Okay, so you can't turn no more, and then you won't be able to pull it out. Now you go ahead and put that back onto the machine like that. Okay, once it's locked in there. See, now when you turn it back this way, it'll slide out. So you want to put that back down in there, turn it so it locks. And then we can go ahead and put this back on the machine here. And this part I'm not going to be able to do with one hand, but I'm going to start it. So we're going to slide this. Now remember, that's the way that's cut out there. Okay, this has to go back on that same way to slide over top of that metal. You push this down and seat it on there like that. Alright, now I'm going to have to set the camera down, but I'm going to go ahead and, while I'm holding this, and put that screw back in there. Now, you want to make sure you don't release your hand here, because if that black piece slides off of that little plate that it's seated on, then it's not gonna work right. All right, so now I got my screw on my magnetic screwdriver, and I know you can't see this, I apologize, but I'm gonna go ahead and screw that back in. And there it is, I got my screw back in. And this should be springy like this. And when you turn that, you should be able to see the choke in there. See it? A little butterfly going back and forth in there. And that's it. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt putting this screw back in here. You'd probably have a little more room if you remove this whole cover to get in on that bolt, but you're probably going to drop that screw a couple times and you'll probably scream and yell, but just take a deep breath and you'll get it in there. Please guys, hit subscribe below, give me a like, and I'll see you next time.